I turned into a Carnage. I died. Actually, you know what? F you. I died. I'm not even me. My corpse is in the backyard. Hey, everybody, welcome to Back Issues of Sal.
I'm Ben.
Going back into Ultimate Spider-Man, but not that Ultimate Spider-Man. The other Ultimate Spider-Man. The original Ultimate Spider-Man.
Old Ultimate Spider-Man.
1610 Ultimate Spider-Man, the teenager. Not the married man with children Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Of the ultimate variety.
This is volume what?
Ugh. Let's just jump into it. So
looks
the
totally different.
problem
What
is,
happened here?
well, I'll tell you what happened here. Jeff Loeb ruined the Ultimate Universe, according to Bendis in an interview. And when I say that, he didn't. I'm paraphrasing. He didn't say Jeff Loeb ruined the Ultimate Universe. He said Jeff Loeb drowned my book.
Like in a sack with puppies?
Yeah, Ultimatum was a big
Basically.
wave hit Manhattan. Everybody drowned.
Yeah, but like
Daredevil's
metaphorically,
dead.
What happened to your book?
Well,
How did that drown
Yeah.
your book?
the problem with Ultimate Spider-Man became that the original pitch for Ultimate Spider-Man, and in fact the ultimate line was no continuity to worry about, new reader-friendly, but then it's been a couple of years and now all these books are out.
its own
Now it's got its own continuity and it's not reader-friendly, or rather it's not new reader-friendly. In fact, Bendis even said this book is reader-friendly, but he didn't say new. And I'm like, that's true. But also, it is pretty new reader-friendly because you could, up until now, go through volumes 1 to 15 or so. That's not bad, you know? Everybody's always talking about how manga's superior because I could just start at volume 1 and then go until I run out. And that's why Western comics are so complicated. And yet, they completely relaunched the line because they're worried that people can't read numerically, which also may actually be indicative of a problem with Western comics, which is they make weird, boneheaded decisions.
Well, also, they have to have all of these different books under the same universe.
Yes.
With manga, it's like, well, this is a story.
Yeah.
And it's not connected to anything else.
Presumably, yeah.
But then they're just leaving money on the table.
Exactly.
By not tying in other books. They
Yeah.
could be selling 3, 4, 5, 6 other books based on the popularity of that first one.
Month to month.
What are they doing?
That's what Stan said in 1963. He's like, what are we doing? Make it all connected. And then refer to each other.
And advertise.
And advertise in their own books.
Blatantly.
Yeah, flagrantly. So the problem was, at least according to Bendis, in interviews I've read, that he couldn't really make Ultimate Spider-Man too connected to the main other Ultimate books. The Ultimates, the big team book, was spottily released. There were constant delays, and there were all these problems. There was no main ongoing Ultimates book. It was only volumes, like Ultimates 1, 2, 3, etc. And after Ultimatum, there was an opportunity to streamline everything so everything could get on the same page and the same timeline. And Bendis was worried actually about spoiling things that might not have actually been revealed in comics yet in his Ultimate book if he wanted to tether them directly to them.
Right.
So after Ultimatum, he just took it as an opportunity to relaunch. Here's where things get terrible, is they also relaunch the title and change it. So it's Ultimate Spider-Man. Everybody loves it. No one is knocking the title, at least at this point. So what do? Let's change it to Ultimate Comics Spider-Man. #1.
What?
So the title is now called Ultimate Comics Spider-Man.
Did they change all the Ultimate to Ultimate Comics?
Yes.
I see. So they're rebranding?
They're rebranding the entire Ultimate Universe. So you're reading Ultimate Comics, and this one's Spider-Man. So Ultimate Comics comes alphanumerically before Ultimate Spider-Man.
Yeah, that's no good.
Oh, and because there's also Ultimate Comics other things, all the Ultimate Comics go over there. It's
Yeah.
like,
So there's a million comics in between
Yeah.
these ones that are back to back. What did they restart the numbering?
yeah,
No.
Oh, yeah.
Why?
because #1s always sell, and they're stupid.
That
But
sucks.
If you're going to call it Ultimate Comics Spider-Man,
yeah.
why isn't it Ultimate Comics Spider-Man on the front?
Oh, no. That faded Ultimate there, that's the branding for Ultimate Comics.
But it says Ultimate,
Yeah.
it doesn't say Comics.
It says on the spine, doesn't it? So everything you know and remember about Ultimate Spider-Man is the same. The wave hit, Pete didn't die, but a bunch of characters did, and everyone's displaced. And remember, Kitty was thrown out of the X-Men before Ultimatum happened, and so Pete and Kitty had dated originally, but then they broke up because Pete is star-crossed with Mary Jane, and so Kitty goes to Pete's school to complicate things, and Gwen got killed by Carnage, and now she is Carnage, but now she's not anymore, but she is still alive. And Gwen lives with them because her dad is dead and her mom hates her. Everyone hates the X-Men / mutants, and they've like passed sweeping legislation to make life harder for mutants. Like, mutants are essentially second-class citizens at this point. And most of them are kind of quiet about whether they are mutants at all, and a lot of them died, so it's okay. I mean, it's not okay, but Kitty, of course, being a mutant and championed by Bendis and being a member of this book, she doesn't know what else to do. You know, she got kicked off the X-Men before the X-Men were even dissolved. So
now she super doesn't have anywhere to go.
Super has no place to go but her mom's house, and you know,
so
her mom.
The X-Men were like gathering somewhere.
That she ain't gonna get the
it's
call.
Like, you're not invited.
Yeah, you weren't invited before.
No one.
That's right. Ultimate Comics Spider-Man does something that everyone loves literarily: a time jump. Because I'm not creative enough to tell things in order. I'm kidding. Well, Ben is very creative, and I like when we do the time jump if it's done fun and creatively.
I assume the time jump is partly to like because
separate.
We're just in the middle of a story here. But it's like, but it's a number one, so it's got to do something.
It's a number of reasons. Like for one thing, that for another, it's like
we just got through Ultimatum. Like, I can't just be like, well, everyone's gonna pick up their lives after a giant wave hit.
Yeah, I don't. It's not gonna be fun to watch people like pick through the bones of their relatives and have Spider-Man go like zippity-doo-dah, I'm fighting Hydro Man. Like, no, we gotta skip ahead.
Yeah, get past all that.
Get past all that.
And maybe we'll reference it little bits, the interesting pieces.
Sure, yeah.
There, yeah.
Well, Bendis already wrote the best parts of Ultimatum anyway, so why not? You know, anything that he refers to will be the best parts of Ultimatum's aftermath. Right. So the way it worked was Ultimate Spider-Man went on for about 135 issues or so. Then they had Ultimate Spider-Man Requiem 1 and 2, and then they canceled Ultimate Spider-Man and replaced it with Ultimate Comics Spider-Man, which just continued the story. I'm sure that wasn't confusing and frustrating for people when they were reading it month to month.
Oh, yeah, no.
Like myself, and it was. So it was easy to read because I was plugged into the internet and I was able to go, what?
Right.
So it was like, oh, it's just the same thing.
Do they ever get back to the old numbering, or they're just like, nope?
Yes, they do get back to the old numbering, and then they end the book, and then go back to Ultimate Comics Spider-Man when Miles is Spider-Man.
Oh.
Which I'm like, don't do that. Like, no one was on board for Ultimate Comics. No one. Except for the people who made it. That's it.
What is the rationale?
I don't know. For the life of me, I couldn't find anyone going on record saying, I came up with the idea to rebrand all of our best-selling titles and call it this awful thing that no one would want. And I'm proud of it. Like, nobody has been on board saying that.
Or even like, in hindsight, it was a terrible idea, but here's what the idea was.
Let me explain to you. At the very least, we have a record of DC Comics deciding to make the page flip logo. Like, we know where that came from.
Right, so you can contextualize it.
Yeah.
This is just like out of nowhere.
Yes.
And then they just pretend it didn't happen.
Pleasing no one and confusing everyone, Ultimate Comics Spider-Man. So the other problem is they also had just lost Bagley and replaced him with Stuart Immonen. Immonen, I thought, did a fantastic job and was a worthy successor, gave the book a very different look, but breathed new life into the series. I loved what Bagley did with Ultimate Spider-Man. I love his designs, his directions. There are some wonky moments, but there's gonna happen when you're doing monthly comics. I have no complaints about Bagley's work. When Immonen came on board, I was like, this is awesome too. Equally awesome. Not like, oh, this is even better. I was just like, this is great too. And you know what? It's a AAA book. It should have the best people on it. And the new artist, David LaFuente, had done some art for Ultimate Spider-Man before, so there's some continuity there with that art. However, it is also radically different from the previous books. Radically different. And you change the title, you change the numbering, you change the artist, you change the time. You change practically everything except for who's in the book and who's writing it. So at that point, I'm still on board, but I am a little shaky about its future because you keep changing things when it didn't need it. I'm happy with what it was.
And like, I kind of want to know like where it would have gone if
Yeah.
you hadn't changed everything.
Right, and I can imagine
Like
Bendis saying, "Ask Loeb."
We told you where it went.
Yeah.
It went for
it went
16
here.
volumes.
Yeah, it went in the water.
I know, but it just seems like that kind of interrupted everything.
Yes. Clearly, every decision made outside of the art change was made for sales. They were like, we are gonna do better because we've rebooted the numbers, we've changed the title, we've done all this stuff. I imagine that this book was harmed by all the decisions at once. And if one was to blame, I would probably point to the art because it's so drastic. It's not like I hate it. I'm just saying it was a very drastic
It's
shift.
different. I don't like.
And I don't like things that are different.
There's things I'm okay with it, but I'll say like I don't like a lot of the characters' faces.
I don't like any of it. The only thing I like is the coloring, because Justin Ponzer was one of the greatest colorists in the business. Outside of that, I can't say I abide it. I get
This
it.
first page is like interesting.
Yeah, you're like, oh, Bendis described it
What?
as European manga style. I'm like, oh, I don't like that.
Yeah. Nobody wants that.
Right.
What?
But if they wanted it, they would have invented it. That said, there are moments where LaFuente is delivering something kind of amazing. You know, like
Like Kermit, Burger Frog, yeah.
Burger Frog, thank you.
Yeah, that's just a
Frog?
straight up Kermit hat.
Whoa, 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 I'd be very careful about who looks like what kind of licensed, copywritten frog. All I know is frogs are hard to draw, and I've looked at one anthropomorphic frog for at least the better part of 35 years, and I can tell you that is easier to draw. So,
Especially the eyes.
yeah, well, you know, I mean, frogs have eyes like that. I mean, what else am I supposed to do here? He draws old women really well.
I was gonna say the old lady. That's a cool design.
Yeah, it's great.
It's like real. Like I'm
Yeah.
like I know who that is.
Right. That's
I
a
can-
real woman. LaFuente is very good at capturing emotion the way that manga and anime does, where it's exaggerated and not my cup of tea. So where are we now? I guess we have to address the fact that Peter technically had a job at the Daily Bugle, and so
Right. What happened?
it folded. Like, because the Daily Bugle's main office was hit by a tidal wave, now the newspaper is insolvent. J.
Was
Jonah
they gonna have
Jameson,
insurance?
right?
Well, maybe the insurance industry collapsed.
Well, that's-
because,
I mean-
like, there were too many claims.
Yeah.
Nobody gets
Like,
their
it's
money.
all of New York.
Right.
Yeah.
We can't cover this.
But there would
Also-
be like disaster aid.
Yeah,
for the federal
But it's not a
government, like-
natural disaster.
I-
You want to get money back? Sue Magneto.
right.
Yeah, your policy doesn't cover Magneto.
Yeah, it's not technically force majeure. It's force mutant sure.
That's why everybody hates mutants. They've ruined everybody's.
Yeah, they've
insurance
ruined everyone's
policies.
insurance premiums.
Yeah.
I completely get it. I'm not
Look,
saying
the
that I
debts
agree.
I can abide,
Right.
but making the entire island of Manhattan financially insolvent?
Just
No.
egregious. So the Daily Bugle is no more for two reasons, seemingly. One is because it was hit by a wave, which is horseshit because J. Jonah Jameson writes an editorial from their Dover, New Jersey offices because I think JJ switched his stance on Spider-Man. Like, because the Daily Bugle was
Right,
the
so it's like, what am I
Spider-Man
gonna
smear
write about?
campaign. Well, he wrote about how great Spider-Man was, and I guess that like tanked the paper.
People are like, what is this?
Whoa!
Spider-Man propaganda that I'm now seeing.
And it's like,
This is not what I signed up for.
what? You literally signed up for a newspaper just to rail at one? Oh, I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, that really tracks with today's market.
That's actually like.
Oh, yeah, okay. Well, I guess that makes sense. So because Peter doesn't have a fun, cool job that he can bail on at every moment, and virtually never appeared at any point outside of occasional double-page splashes when he needed information on a villain, he needs to get a job. And I'm like, do you? But he does, and so he's working at the mall, which is
gotta
where
help
Mary
support-
Jane used to work.
It's gonna help support Aunt May.
That's true. Yeah. So Pete works at the Burger Frog now, a new business that must have risen from the ashes of the old world.
Well-
You know, it used to be Burger King, and
Yeah.
then this frog showed up.
But you gotta understand, like, with all the water that came in, everything's
Right.
swampy now. There's all these frogs.
Exactly.
What are we gonna do with all these frogs?
Yeah, one
We're gonna grill 'em
entrepreneurial
and eat 'em.
spirit was like, this guy. We're making frogs legs, we're making frog burgers, it's gonna be amazing.
They have a blimp. This is a very big franchise.
Yeah.
How how long has it been
Right.
since the wave destroyed Manhattan?
Yeah, because those buildings are up and finished. I don't see a lot of scaffolding in this.
So it's been
plot
like 10 years?
show. No, it's been 6 months.
6 months. They rebuilt the city in 6. Well, I guess.
So I guess those insurance premiums did kick in after all.
The buildings weren't destroyed. They were just wet. So
There was a lot of mildew damage.
I'm just saying, like, that's a lot of water in the lower parts of your skyscrapers.
All the glass should have been broken.
All the glass is broken.
Like, yeah, but no, they're fine. 6 months.
Yeah.
Cool.
Cool. MJ is still working as a reporter for the school newspaper, and I'm like, this is an angle that I guess you could go for. Again, it's a new status quo. We're doing
Right.
new shit. Peter works at the mall like a loser. MJ is Lois Lane now. And what of everyone else? Who's to say? Let's continue with Ultimate Comics Spider-Man.
Wait, is this where the Mary Jane
mean,
from the video game comes from?
Probably, certainly that it's not an original idea.
Okay.
And it would be an original idea in this world because at no point, at any point in 616 continuity has Mary Jane ever picked up a microphone.
Right.
I
Yeah,
mean,
didn't think
unless
so.
she was on a stage.
Yes,
Well,
but
no.
even then, it would only be to talk in it, unlike the third movie, because she doesn't sing either.
What are you talking about? She's a great singer.
That's all she ever wanted to be, according to the third movie, and no other movie. MJ's working at the newspaper under Jessica Jones because Bendis invented her and would like to see her perpetuate herself throughout other universes.
first appearance
No,
of
no,
Ultimate
she's
Jessica Jones?
Ultimate Jessica Jones has been in other books. In fact, I think she was drawn by Bagley. Like that's how far back she goes.
Okay. Sounds familiar.
Yeah, she suspected that Spider-Man goes to their high school, and she was like doggedly persistent in outing who Spider-Man was.
Right.
So she and MJ were at odds. But, you know, just because Manhattan was rebuilt in a shockingly short span of time doesn't mean that crime's going to slow down.
Well, that's the work of Ultimate Damage Control.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, there is an Ultimate Damage Control. And I guess they work their asses off.
Look at this idyllic picture.
That's
with
what they want you to think.
Yeah,
They're like,
the
oh.
balloons.
I was going to say idyllic. No, those balloons are going to kill birds.
There they are.
That's true.
That's true. Well, but, you know.
If you're a tree hugger, if you like fun,
Yeah.
they're just whimsical.
Yeah. They're a metaphor for how carefree and open the world has become as a result.
You know that there's kids on that ground that are just crying their eyes out because they let go of the balloons.
Oh my
No,
god.
they set them free.
Some jerks drive their car into a bodega and they try to rob it. And so you think, oh, that's setting up Spider-Man to stop them. But no, new character.
Oh.
Whoa. Now, Bendis also had a real hard-on for a character in the 616 universe called the Hood. Not invented by Bendis, but still propagated by Bendis. Like, for how often Bendis used the Hood, you'd think he invented him. That said, this is not the Hood, despite the fact that they wear a red hood and people refer to it. This is the Ultimate Shroud. The Shroud is a little-known 616 original Marvel character, not created by Bendis, and no one will ever refer to them as such. Moving on.
How does the Shroud fight in this outfit?
Right.
How are they effective?
Well, because they look awesome.
Well, it's like a giant cloak.
Yeah.
It's like a bathrobe. You can fight in a bathrobe.
Yeah, but not, like, quickly. Not effectively.
I'm just saying, you can fight and be comfy.
This is true. So the Shroud displays harrowing feats of strength and daring do, and is able to defeat the bad guys. And we get a couple indications as to the identity, because this is another thing. Who is the Shroud?
the Shroud?
Whoa, I'm reading Spider-Man, but like, who's the Shroud, though?
Who's that Shroud?
You're going to be asking yourself, when you see this character 2 pages in, who's the Shroud? Even though you won't know that their name is the Shroud, nor will they ever refer to them as such. But, who's the Shroud? So,
With those wrappings on their hands, they look like a mummy.
they do. But they're not. So the Shroud isn't satisfied with kicking the crap out of criminals. They also want to make them feel bad about themselves, but not in a like weird Hushian way. Instead, in a kind of condescending, weird, childish way, where they're like, "This is what you want to do with your life? Like, this is what you choose to do? We're almost all killed by a wave, and now you're robbing bodegas, you piece of shit? Well, you know what? You're going to jail, and when you get out, you better think about what you've done." And I'm like, shut up.
Oh yeah, that's gonna make a real
No,
impact.
it's more for them, I think, than for the criminals themselves.
Right.
It is for the Shroud.
Right.
Sexless. We don't know who the Shroud is. Girl, guy, adult, child, we don't know. And I'm sure you couldn't guess. But they also are trying to obfuscate who they are. When they interact with our main cast, they say things like, I think it might be a girl, but it could be a guy. But they are trying to hide their identity with their voice. Never do they explain how. Like
The Shroud has many powers.
I want you to do that right now. How would you hide your gender using your voice?
Did you know in this scene, friggin' Viggo Mortensen broke his foot?
Who's my favorite director? Oh, I gotta go with either Francis Ford Coppola or Quentin Tarantino.
You've never seen The Godfather.
I'm about to change your life, dude. Yeah, okay, yeah, we nailed it. All right, that's what the Shroud sounds like. Anyway.
Just be mute. Just don't say anything.
Yeah, right. Just don't say anything.
No, but that's
no,
the
but
whole
then,
thing is
but-
I gotta shame these criminals.
Yeah, which is also another hallmark characteristic of the Shroud. Is that they browbeat people.
Oh, yeah?
They beat them with their fists and then they browbeat them.
Did they do that in
with-
616?
No!
But they
Also-
actually browbeat them with like headbutts, right?
Yeah, with their heads. Also, the Shroud is a guy in the
Oh.
616 universe. It's just like, there's no
No, but this
mystery.
is Ultimate Shroud. This could be anybody.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, we don't know.
Right?
Charlie Brown doesn't know.
I know. Hilarious. So anyway, then Spider-Man shows up and he's like, I'm here, what's up?
I saw a crashed Jeep inside
Yeah.
of a building.
He's like, what the hell? And they're like, oh my God, Spider-Man, you're here. You're the greatest. I read that Daily Bugle article about how the superheroes either had sex with each other or died
Or got eaten.
or murdered each other or were eaten by other superheroes. And you're the only one who did anything or cared. So we worship you now. And he's like, what? And then the cops show up and like, freeze! And he's like, here we go again. Like, Spider-Man, don't move. I want to shake your hand because you're amazing. And he's like, oh, great. And just
know what to
leaves.
do with this.
Yeah, and that's Spider-Man. I like Spider-Man being like, I don't know what to do with this experience. Like, I'm so self-loathing that I don't know what to do with a compliment or with people liking me.
Also, I'm here to help, and I can't do anything.
Because you're all like fawning over me right now.
Yeah.
Like, get away. Like, give me, back up. All right? What's going on? And they're like, oh man, the person in a red hood showed up and just beat the shit out of those guys. And he's like, what? And then we see the Shroud like watching this thing.
Dun, 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 dun.
Doom. Like,
Very
that
cinematic.
would be really cinematic if they had a face and I could see what they were feeling. But you know what? You can imagine that face when you find out who the Shroud is. Oh, it's got rereadability now. I mean, like, it does.
No.
I like all these books. I enjoy reading them. I actually laughed audibly. Pete goes home. He's in his house in Forest Hills. Remember, Aunt May moved, but they're still in the same neighborhood.
Yeah.
Pops into the window. It's nighttime. Aunt May knows that Peter's Spider-Man, so it's okay for him to come and go now.
Right. That's right.
Opens the window. Gwen's there because she lives there. And then they start making out.
What?
But I thought he was with Mary Jane.
Right? But it's a time jump.
What?
But it's been six whole months.
No.
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 Forever. I hate it in every respect.
No. No, it's not like a fake out.
No, it is not a fake out.
No.
Yeah, it's not like a dream or like,
Right.
hey, how do I look blonde and with a black headband?
Right? Yeah. No. Yeah, because everyone has the same face. No. Gwen and Pete, in the 6 months since Ultimatum, are hooking up. And Aunt May just is oblivious to it, I guess. She's aware they're dating, but she is like not
Gwen
aware.
live with them?
Yeah.
That's awkward.
Very. Also, it's awkward because 6 months, like, Pete torpedoed his relationship with Kitty to be with MJ.
Yeah.
And then after everyone dies at Ultimatum, they just break up and he's like, well, I guess you're here. Like, ah! Also, the way that they treated the relationship between Pete and Gwen was very brother-sister.
Yeah.
Not in a literal sense like Star Wars, but at the very least you could, like, I guess Bendis is like, oh, grow up.
Yeah.
You put two teenagers in the house together.
They're gonna hook
They're
up.
gonna hook up. I don't care what kind of shared trauma they have. They're gonna bang.
It's Peter and it's Gwen.
There-
Like, they gotta
There
hook
has to
up
be,
at
he
some
has to
point.
have sexual stakes
Yeah.
in Gwen. It can't just be that he's sad that he led to her death like he did before.
Right.
Now she can die all over again. He can be even more sad because he can't have sex with her anymore.
Right.
What?
When she died before, she was his girlfriend.
Right,
We were
right.
robbed of that moment
Yes.
where he curses out
Now,
Green Goblin
that
for
being said,
murdering.
I am thankful to say, and I think I'm not telling tales out of school here, that the only time after the Carnage incident that Gwen Stacy dies is when the whole universe blows up.
Right.
Like, she dies in the exact same moment that Aunt May dies and everyone else in the universe.
Yeah,
it's
and
okay.
she dies, but so does everybody else.
Right, like, Spider-Man can't be like, no, because he's dead
He
too.
dies before, yeah.
So it's okay.
Wait, is he dating Gwen when he dies?
No.
Okay, so she doesn't get a moment to go like,
No.
curse you, whoever killed
I
you.
mean, she's going to be sad,
right,
presumably.
because well, like unless they ended on bad terms,
Right?
We don't know.
Well, I
don't
mean,
know.
how could they not?
You know, it's interesting that
So wait,
they drew Peter who looks younger than he did before.
Yes.
yes,
That's LaFuente's style.
he was getting a little too old.
Right, we got to dial it back. It's only been 1 year since Ultimate Spider-Man 1 started.
Yeah, but how long did Ultimate Spider-Man happen?
Years.
Exactly.
Multiple years, yes. So Pete and Gwen make out a little bit, and then he comes downstairs, talks to Aunt May, the doorbell rings, and Johnny Storm is at the door. And he's like, hey, there's no more Fantastic Four, because, like, Reed is slowly on his way to becoming the Maker, and our house was wrecked, even though Manhattan's pristine again, and I don't know if, like, I want to be on the Fantastic Four. You know,
It's getting weird.
It's getting weird. And I get it, Johnny. Especially in this point in the Ultimate Fantastic Four history. Like, you should leave. And he's like, I was just kind of thinking I could, like, stay with you guys. He, like, passes out. He hasn't been...
You taking wayward children?
Right? You've done this. Look, you got Gwen here.
I'm like a wayward 20-something?
No, he's... I think he's probably at maximum 3 years older than them. Maybe 2. Pete's 15. So he might be 18 or more like 17. I know, but trust me, he isn't. Like, he's around Peter's age. It would be frustrating and weird to be that age and hang around with him, but as an adult looking back going, they're practically the same age. Like,
What's the difference between 15 and 18?
right, like every time we saw a senior hooking up with a freshman, we were like, gross! I'm gonna call the cops. So Johnny appears on their front doorstep and he's like, hey, and he passes out. Because he's like been awake. He hasn't stopped being the Human Torch and doing Ultimate Fantastic Four shit since Ultimatum.
Oh.
And so...
Oh, that's what happened to all the seawater. He boiled it all away.
yeah, he just burned it all and they were like, oh, thank you. And he's like, ugh.
I'm sorry for all the salt, though.
So Johnny passes out and they're like, ah, geez, what are we gonna do with this? So you're like, oh, we're setting up a new status quo here. Aunt May is gonna be like a halfway house for wayward teenage superheroes.
Yeah.
By the way, as a kid reading this, yes. I was like, yes, yes, yes. More. Add more.
Pile them
more
all in.
characters.
How many bedrooms does she have, though?
I mean,
how big is this house?
It's big enough, as big as it needs to be. There's a moment where they talk about like logistics, and Pete was living in the basement but had a bedroom.
Right.
And Gwen had another bedroom. So
There's
at least three additional bedrooms. There's the attic, the basement, and Pete's original room.
Right.
So the way Pete worked was he's like, I'll sleep in the attic and Johnny can sleep in my actual room.
Okay.
But we are going to add one more superhero at least to this little wayward teen team.
I really hope it's like someone who's good with cooking.
It is not.
I was gonna be like, Aunt May can open up a pancake house. It'll be
my-
Aunt May's wheat cakes.
I love it. Yes.
And some like sous chef in the back, just
does-
like a line chef.
Yeah, right? She does make wheat cakes, or at least pancakes. I don't know if wheat cakes really factor into the ultimate version of Aunt May, but let's say that panned cakes are made for the kids by Aunt May in this book, though they are not identified as to whether they are wheat or pan. That being said, it's not relevant. Kingpin comes back.
Whoa.
And I love it because
you
you're
mean
like...
Babyface?
That's right. Babyface Kingpin is back. And he is pissed. Because if you recall, he was accused of murdering Moon Knight during the Ultimate Night Saga. Like, he was basically... Yeah, he was arrested. And because all the records of every crime in New York were washed away, Fisk... Now, listen. I agree.
They only had physical records.
I mean, here's what I'm saying. I'm saying that...
No one remembers what happened.
Who cares if they're dead? If you kill every witness and you have a hacker erase all digital data, and so the only thing left are hard copies.
Was he never convicted?
No, he was.
Well, then that's it.
Well, but we never see what happens. So what we get instead is that because of the flood, Fisk is back. He wasn't in Manhattan at the time.
Like,
Oh,
look,
okay.
millions of people died. We got to repopulate.
Right.
We need all the
Get all the
set
bodies into
criminals
this.
free
No,
and,
there's no.
and bring them in.
And he counts as like 4.
Yeah. Look, he's a businessman. He'll help rejuvenate the city or some shit.
There's no like work release program. It's that Fisk manipulates the law, and now he's back. Okay. He's Spider-Man's best villain in this entire
Then why
effing
did
series.
you imprison him?
Because he has to go to jail. We have to prove that Peter's right at least once in a while. And I wrote myself into a corner, okay? Matt Murdock literally had his dying wife's throat in his hands. We didn't know what to do with these characters, all right? So he had to go to jail. Or whatever, I don't know. He's back though. And then Mysterio shoots him out a window and he dies. Kingpin's dead. Don't worry about him anymore. He literally never comes back. This is the last appearance of the Kingpin in the Ultimate Universe.
Jesus!
Oh my god.
What's even more frustrating is
What?
It's Ultimate Mysterio, which because we covered Spider-Man before this, we know the secret identity of Ultimate Mysterio. It's 616 Marvel Universe Prime Mysterio using a robot avatar body to hang out in the other universe. So a Mysterio from another reality is like, hey, kill, and then just takes over his job.
What?
I promise you Bendis had no idea who Ultimate Mysterio was when he invented him. There's no effing way, because the interest that Ultimate Mysterio has in what he's doing, like why are you doing this?
Why would
Like,
Mysterio
what is so
do
much
that?
effort? Like, Mysterio is a former special effects man. Why would he want to go to another universe and become a kingpin of crime? Like, do you, I mean, like...
I assume it's part of his master plan.
This, what master plan? What's
How do you
great
tell
is
me?
actually if you look at like his Wikipedia, because Mysterio's technically both universes Mysterios, so you have to explain like when he was defeated in the main universe, then he like snuck off to a warehouse and then like puppeted the robot body in the other universe, just hung out in like a haptic feedback room, like in Ready Player One. He's just in a van somewhere, just doing stuff in the Ultimate Universe. And then when he got bored of that, just went like, oh, I guess I'll be Mysterio in the main universe. And like, I love that he is like, well, I'm done being cool, new, modern Mysterio in that universe. Now I'm gonna put my fishbowl back on and my big purple cape and just go for it. No! And never reference it.
So here's the question.
Make sure I never reference the fact that I was in that other universe.
Right. Does Mysterio only operate at night? Because if Mysterio
kind of.
himself
Yeah.
in 616
Yeah,
was awake during the day, and then he just goes to sleep, and this is like a weird part of his subconscious puppeting it?
Yeah. It's just,
that would work.
Yeah, his id is puppeting this friggin' thing. That'd be actually kind of amazing. It's an active decision he's making, but I'm more than okay with greenlighting that pitch of it's just being Ultimate Mysterio is his subconscious fucking around in the Ultimate Universe.
Yeah, it's like time dilation. Where like when you're asleep, like you're asleep for an hour, but you can have like an 8-hour-long dream in your brain.
There's no way that anyone but Bendis was on board for this concept. Like in Spider-Man, they ultimately find Mysterio in the main universe, and then they get him and they arrest him in the Ultimate Universe. And he's like, I'm not supposed to be here. And they're like, well, you're going to jail. And I'm like, what are we gonna do in main Spider-Man books if we want to use Mysterio? Like, explain that he hopped universes? Like, what? I mean, like, look, it's very easy. You could just do that.
Yeah.
Like, Mysterio's here, and Spider-Man's like, weren't you arrested in another universe? And he's like, yup, and that's the end of it. Like, if we reference that, I'll give you a gold star.
Yeah, he'll get a no prize.
Not reference it. And,
which is what they did.
Yeah. It's like, well, he doesn't show up all that often.
However,
we see him every couple years.
They do use him later in the Ultimate Universe when Galactus appears in the Ultimate Universe. Now, they did invent an Ultimate Galactus called Galactus. Brilliant. They ask Mysterio, they're like, hey, you're from like another universe? Who's that? He's like, oh shit, that's Galactus. I really have to leave now.
You have to let me go. I don't belong here. I'm not supposed to die here.
I'm not gonna be eaten by my Galactus on another Earth.
Another planet.
That's
I'm not
what-
going to get eaten by my Galactus. It's going to be on my Earth.
That's right. Because
Because on my Earth, someo's gonna stop it.
Yeah,
Why is
because-
the Fantastic Four fucking do something about
yeah,
it?
they won't be whatever the hell they are now, where like Benjamin J. Grimm's thing body is actually a cocoon. And then when it explodes, he's just Ben Grimm, but he's glowy. It's like, no.
What?
No. I like that idea when I first read it, but then I was like, no. But I miss Ben.
Then what?
Right, but then what? And they're like, well, this is all gonna get canceled anyway. Who cares? And it's like, yeah, but like not now. You're still doing it now. Anyway, so he basically tells them like, "Oh, you just got to get Reed. Reed will fix it." That's all I know though, because like,
Right.
I wasn't there.
But it's not like Reed told everybody what he did.
No, Reed didn't like issue a press release about him. Oh yeah, because that would have been a problem.
So how did you defeat the giant monster in the sky?
Oh well, you see, it actually took a little bit of good old-fashioned gumption and a heaping pile of clobbering time, right, Ben?
Yeah, sure. That's less existentially horrifying than what you did, so yeah. Let's do it.
What? No more questions. Yeah, what we actually did was sneak aboard his ship and find a small remote control sized device that could end the universe. And what I said to him was, I'm gonna push the button that does it if you don't get the fuck off my lawn. And he believed me.
And where's this device now?
Well, I gave it back to him.
What?
Well, he wasn't gonna push it. He was so afraid of it. I mean, and I got it from him anyway. It's only fair.
Well, let me ask you this. What's to stop him from just coming back and eating the Earth the second time?
Well,
since you gave him the device back.
I'm glad you asked that because
Yeah, what if he comes back and leaves the device at home?
Well, he actually did. We had to send Johnny through like this insane rift through reality itself to get it. It was actually really hard. That
Why
said,
would you give away a weapon of such
Right.
incredible power to a maniac who wants to destroy the Earth?
well,
What's wrong with you? Are
two-
you some kind of commie?
oh, I see. Yeah, right. Because it's like the late '60s. Yeah. Because I was gonna say, I mean, the fact remains, he is amoral. Like he doesn't have sides or belief. You know, he is a force of nature, really. So these are just collections. He didn't build that thing. Could you?
Would you?
Would I?
Would you build it?
No.
You've already built it, haven't you?
I built 3. One that doesn't kill the user.
One that. Oh.
And potentially anyone who's standing right next to me, like maybe 3 other people.
Yeah, no, it has a little thing I could punch in who I don't want to annihilate.
Oh my god. Wait, so you have a thing that could kill any one or many people.
I could
depending
kill-
on your whims.
Yeah, it could kill any one or all.
Yikes.
You're welcome. So Ultimate Mysterio is introduced in the Ultimate book, and you're like, oh shit! And he killed Wilson Fisk.
Well, he means business.
So he means
He's
business.
playing for keeps.
He might even be more cool than. Oh, he never will be.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He'll never justifiably be interesting. Fair.
Damn.
So, what is Ultimate Mysterio's plan? Nebulous and vague. He seems to be a byproduct of the Ultimatum. He survived the attack. And he's like, oh, everything's meaningless and God is dead. I guess I'll just make a suit that can make me look like a ghost. I'll just roll in and take shit over. Like, that's his whole thing, is that he is a nihilist.
Okay.
He's a late-stage capitalist.
That's a shame, because if he was just like, if he had a little bit more meaning and purpose, he also could have doubled as the Shroud.
Well, that's actually interesting. He's like, I want to help people, but I know they don't deserve it. And so he's like Mysterio and the Shroud.
Well, I think
Whoa!
people are fundamentally bad, and so there's no reason to help.
Yeah, but they're also helpless, and so I have to try. And it's like, that's kind of a neat idea. I don't know how sustainable it is, but it could have at least lasted this volume. That said, instead, no. Don't forget, he's vacationing as main Mysterio in this Ultimate Universe.
This is so not Mysterio. He says, but you keep calling me Mysterio. I like that. I would never have come up with that name myself, but it's out there now, and I like it. Mysterio.
Yeah. Why?
What? You are Mysterio.
But you
supposedly.
You're the Mysterio.
How
Why-
could you never have come up with your own name?
No, he's just being theatrical. He's just establishing his
I was
alibi.
speaking ironically.
I want anyone to know, if they were listening to me, that I'm not really Mysterio. Why would the real Mysterio ever say that?
Would the real Mysterio please stand up?
But this world doesn't know about the real Mysterio.
They don't
so
even
why
know
would
about the
there
other
be any
universe.
risk of them thinking.
No,
about Mysterio?
what if it was just like, no one said it, and he's just looks like, anyway, I gotta get my name started. Oh, but you keep calling me Mysterio. Nobody said that.
Yeah.
That's
Honestly,
strange, I've never heard it before. Did you say
I didn't say anything like that. That's why would he even get Mysterio? I
Well,
got Ghost.
Mysterio it is.
Well, it rolls on the
people have
drum so
spoken.
well, Mysterio.
I mean, like that's That's the canon
Call
reason.
Mysterio?
I feel like I didn't hear anybody. I would have remembered a name like
I mean,
Mysterio.
he's talking as if it definitely happened, so we must have just.
They might as well
missed
call him the Gaslighter because like that's how he gets his name established. So, okay, so that's Mysterio's MO is he confusingly establishes who he is and he's gonna take what's his even if it ain't. Yay. Also, he seems to have like, you know, a vlogger setup.
Yeah.
You know, he's like
He's
obsessed
got a
with
lot of cameras.
He's obsessed with
Yeah.
cameras. Like, and I get it. Like, you know what? That is an ultimate version of Mysterio. It's like he's obsessed with cameras. He's obsessed with like coverage. He's a late 2000s version of an influencer. Like, yeah, I get that concept. Is it better than real Mysterio just dropping into the Ultimate Universe? I say no. That said, it was good enough for us back then. So then Peter, as Spider-Man, is drowning. And as he's trying to reach the surface, he is surrounded by the bodies of all the superhero community. And then he wakes up and he's like, oh man, do I have PTSD? Don't worry, he doesn't. Those dreams are over. He won't have those anymore. But like
but
he
you
will,
do.
But he will right here, right now, and you'll think, is this going to be a problem? And it'll be exactly as much of a problem as when Mary Jane used to threaten that she'll turn into that hairy monster version of herself.
Yeah.
I like the idea that like it's raining, and so he's like, oh no!
He subconsciously incorporated the rain
Because
into...
that was what harbinged Ultimatum was the rain. So I'm like, yeah, that's pretty cool. Again, we're not gonna
It would
do
be
anything with
cool
that?
if there was anything behind it.
I mean,
or
like
any
there.
purpose to it.
Oh no, there's no purpose. I mean, outside of like it being a cool visual and us not having enough pages of Spider-Man doing anything. And so yeah, I'm gonna have to put Spider-Man in a costume in a dream sequence.
It's fortunate for Bendis that so much of this is so good because there's a lot of shit like that.
Yeah.
Where it's like you introduce like pretty serious stuff
Yeah.
and then it just never pays off.
No. Or
And that like infuriates me.
it would be
Making
very frustrating.
Mary Jane a beast and then never like why did you do that?
right, yeah,
Like you had no plan for that? You had no business making that decision if you had no
no,
plan.
I had no plan for it, and I have no inclination to do anything with it.
I don't think you understand. She was always a beast. She was a woman.
It's metaphorical.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make a point in that moment.
What? And it's like, no, he wanted that moment to have stakes, and there weren't enough.
Right.
So he was like, how about Mary Jane gets transformed by Ultimate
permanently
Kane
changed.
into
How about
being
that?
a beast? And it's like, okay.
I feel like that would
Okay.
have severe repercussions on her future. Nope.
Well, let me, oh, I kind of like that. So how about they cure her, and then we'll end the issue with her having these kind of tremors. And then we'll never pay them off ever again.
What were the tremors?
Those tremors were a suggestion that perhaps she might regress back
Oh.
into the beast monster.
Yeah.
Does she?
No.
Will she ever again? Absolutely not.
And then the world will blow up.
I mean, maybe she was going to. We'll
I mean,
never know.
we don't know because other people made decisions for me about that.
Yeah, right. Why don't you go ruin Superman?
So Kitty Pryde is at school, you know, Midtown High. And, you know, because racism is legal and cool, people are just chucking shit at her because, you know, she's a mutant and, like, she drowned Manhattan. So they're just throwing things at her and she's just letting them hit her until eventually she phases and then things are flying through her. And then the principal comes over and he's like, you're legally not allowed to use your powers. You're going to have to probably be suspended because you were using your powers. Like, that's not okay. But before that happens, of course, her now ex-boyfriend, Kong, because we set up that, like, Kenny... Kong, former butt monkey to Flash Thompson,
Right.
is motivated by how cool Peter is, how he knows he's Spider-Man, and how hot Kitty is to start like doing push-ups and hanging out with the gang. In fact, the last time we saw Kenny was with the group on a day trip to Manhattan when the rain came. Now, Kenny has a punk rock look to him with like a mohawk.
Oh.
And he and Kitty aren't together anymore.
I think there's just commentary on relationships when you're in high school are unstable.
Yes. Yeah,
And we're
that's
just reinforcing that at every possible moment.
right. Like, yes, you're watching these characters who you are rooting for.
Yeah.
And so, like, it's not probably statistically or emotionally
Stable.
going to work.
Yeah.
And you shouldn't really be rooting for it, actually.
Yeah, you're weird for thinking these
children
relationships
are
should
going
last.
to right. Like it's weird that we have romanticized this teenage romance thing. Because statistically it won't, and it's actually not a good idea for them to only be with one person for their entire lives, starting at the age of when they hit puberty.
Yeah, but when I add the names Peter and Mary Jane to it,
We're done.
That's the thing. Like, why did you introduce Mary Jane if you wanted to do that?
Right, like Peter meets Mary Jane in college.
yeah. You
like-
didn't have to do this.
No, but
You
also,
didn't have to make it weird.
No.
He could have dated a bunch of random people.
or some established people.
Oh yeah.
Ultimate
Who
version of those
actually existed
characters.
in real life.
Like he could have dated anyone like Sissy Ironwood or Deborah Whitman or Betty Brant or any number of characters, but instead it's Mary Jane, Kitty Pryde, Gwen Stacy.
well, Mary Jane.
well,
And then
Mary,
Mary Jane
Jane,
again.
Gwen Stacy.
And then Gwen Stacy.
What did I say?
Mary Jane, Kitty Pryde. But then he goes back to Mary
Yeah,
Jane.
no, I don't count going back.
Yeah, you have to, because that's why it's so weird.
Yeah, I guess that's
Not that that doesn't happen, but it's just like,
my comic book addled brain, like in high school, I dated a girl my freshman year. And then we broke up my freshman year. And then I dated one or two other people. And so did she. And then senior year, we got back together. We're resuming the previous relationship.
Right.
As far as my brain is concerned.
Right.
We're not starting a brand new relationship.
yeah. I thought you were going for how silly it was that it's like Mary Jane, then
Kitty,
Pryde, then Mary Jane again,
Yeah, no, like,
then
that's
Gwen Stacy,
ridiculous.
and then Mary Jane.
then Mary Jane again,
No.
because that is insane.
That's insane. You don't need to catalog it like that.
Yeah.
Just be like, he dated Mary Jane and these other people, but ended up with Mary Jane at the end of it. That's all you need to say.
Yeah. It's also tainted by the fact that like we know he's ending up with her, so it's like, what are you doing?
Well, we don't know
What's
that. I
happening?
mean, when you're reading this, you don't know
I
if they're going to end up together.
know,
I mean,
but
you
that's like
really do.
But it's Mary Jane to make you think that it is.
Right.
Otherwise, it wouldn't have been Mary Jane. It would be anyone.
Well, right, like the movies. Like there's
Yes.
3 movies about how Mary Jane and Peter are meant to be together.
Yes.
Not even Bryce Dallas Howard can stop her.
Bryce Dallas Howard in a wig.
A very convincing wig. So Kenny is in a horribly embarrassing phase in his life. I'm like, just like, man, you know, it's like, whatever. But Kenny,
He's into like late 80s, early 90s British punk.
yes.
Yeah, he's a rebel.
Yeah. He heard the Clash once and was like, holy shit. This dude's
my
been
whole identity.
this guy's been listening to Smash Mouth his entire life. One time he caught the tail end of London Calling. It was like, this is me now, which is so accurate, it's not even funny.
Yeah.
Like, folks,
is
like
real.
you need to understand that when we didn't have the whole experience of the human condition in our pocket, and that everyone on the planet was updating you about what they're doing at any given moment, this is how teenagers reacted to things.
Yeah,
They
there were
still-
pockets and niches of things.
And you still do, by the way, but you are more heavily influenced by the bubbles you create from the rectangle in your pocket. And that's why Kenny has an embarrassing purple mohawk. So then the principal shows up, because I mean, look, they're throwing burgers and fries at this girl. It's fucked up and terrible. She phases, it goes through her. Then Kenny hits no fewer than 4 people in the head with a table. And then the principal shows up. And the principal's like, I heard something. Like, what is going on here? As a result of Ultimatum, any Manhattan school that was in the path of the wave was destroyed. Midtown High is choked with like 1 or 2 other districts of children. And that is impossible. I'm here to tell you, it's impossible. You can kind of tell.
There's a lot of people
It
in
looks like any school cafeteria. I can imagine it was
They needed-
Herculean by La Fuente to have to draw that many people at once, but I'm just
Yeah.
telling you, that looks as crowded as any midday lunch period in high
They
school.
needed like a wide shot. They needed like a
Yes.
like a shot of the whole cafeteria. You could just see that like, oh, that's too many. That is, there's not.
That's
enough
too many
chairs.
people. There's not enough chairs.
Where are they gonna sit?
We're getting a lot of apple
Well,
boxes.
that's just it. This isn't even the cafeteria. This is the auditorium.
Right, yeah, right. Like,
yeah,
that'd be,
yeah. They're eating.
They're eating on a basketball court.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Like,
Any
if,
of that.
If the weather is tolerable, you're eating outside. Parking, you can't park here anymore.
Yeah, this
that's
is the
done.
cafeteria.
It's the cafeteria now. It's just tent city. It's just a bunch of canopies and benches. Yeah,
That's what would happen.
Wood
That's
shop,
too real.
wood shop. Everyone is just making benches and tables now.
for the city of New York.
Yeah. That's actually not a bad idea. I kind
is
of
a
like
good
that.
idea,
Like,
yeah.
if I were Mr. White, I'd be like, dude, we're all just making those like chairs and table thingies
I
just
wouldn't
all day
wanna
long.
sit on any of those chairs made in high school shop class.
Listen, you know it's all being supported by the backs of one really dedicated teacher and a couple of very good students. So the principal shows up and he's like, Miss Proud, you're gonna have to come with me. Like, you're the instigator of the situation because you are a mutant,
Right.
and we're working on trying to
You let those objects phase through your body. You can't do that.
we're trying to get you out of here. Like, you're causing a problem because you're a very public mutant, and you're like, they're gonna do what they're gonna do because that's who they are. And I know that like that could easily be applied to you, but because one of you destroyed all of Manhattan, we're going to demonize you specifically.
Yeah.
And so,
Sure, take me by force.
right. Well, now I'm gonna have to call the police,
Yeah.
and then I'm gonna have to call the National Guard, and then I'm gonna have to call the Ultimates or something.
I'm just saying,
And
go
Captain
ahead.
America
You can
hits you in
take me
the
down to
face.
the principal's office.
Yeah.
Go ahead and move me.
Yeah, right. You're expelled. Get out. After all of that, notices that Mary Jane was filming the entire altercation. So she gets way up
Like
in...
a weirdo.
Yeah, like a creep. And MJ, like, she looks...
She's filming it like she's like, this is the most beautiful thing I've ever seen.
yeah, she just saw American Beauty and it changed her life.
It's a plastic bag. You're filming trash.
And so Kitty gets way up in Mary Jane's face and she's like, what the hell's the matter with you? Like, you saw all of that from the beginning to then and then did nothing. She's like, no, I filmed it. I'm going to make a video.
A reporter.
Yeah, I have to be unbiased. Like, I'm going to make a report about the senseless racism that's rampant in our school. And she's like, and of course, this is the demonstration of the fundamental ideologies between the two people, right? Because like, MJ's like, I can be more effective at that messaging if I get it out there. And Kitty's like, what are you doing for me lately? Like,
Right.
but I'm
I
being
needed help in
persecuted
that
right
moment.
now.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care about what you can do for mutants tomorrow. I'm caring about being affected now.
And thanks for stepping in and telling them to knock it off.
Right, exactly.
Or being a friend.
Yeah, well, I can't do that because I'm filming you see. So Kitty uses her powers on her camera, destroys it, and then leaves.
Sweet.
And but before she goes, she says, well, maybe you can get your boyfriend to buy one. Oh, wait, I just forgot. You don't have one anymore. And then Mary Jane, while she's like crying, goes, well, neither do you. And I'm like, oh, what a great zinger that was, MJ. Really hitting her where she hurts. Yeah, I'm like, all right, so MJ and Pete are definitely on the outs.
Yeah.
And I guess Kitty is still not talking to Pete.
Is MJ, she's just like a nerd now?
Yeah, oh yeah, no. She's like, Mary Jane is completely
What
transformed.
what happened?
Well, she was one, but she was drawn by Bagley. So it's like, she was a nerd, kind of. They used to call her like Brainy Jane and stuff. It was stupid.
Oh.
And she wore glasses,
Yeah.
kinda, sometimes. And
Unless you didn't want to.
yes.
Anyway, now she's a mom,
Yeah,
Yeah.
but she's in high school.
yeah, they turned her into an introvert.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right. Meanwhile, I love this. Two of Pete's ex-girlfriends are like fighting each other.
Right.
One of his former new best friends has an embarrassing hair situation that he needs help with. And Pete is on the roof with Gwen just like, I wonder what everyone else is doing. I just got a hand job, so I don't know about anybody else, but things are going swimmingly. Like,
Everything's coming up, Peter.
like basically, like, I love that no effort is made to illustrate that Peter is benefiting from a situation that he really hasn't done anything to warrant or deserve.
Right.
And
What are
everyone
you talking about? I totally deserve this situation with Gwen.
Yeah.
Based on the last 6 months.
Right.
Oh, you didn't see the last 6 months?
Oh,
well, that should happen.
You missed out, yeah, and you never will, by the way. Just trust me and believe the fact that Gwen and Peter getting together is completely justifiable. Yeah, they're just like on the roof, like they will be. Replace Gwen with MJ though, but not that MJ in No Way Home. Like, I remember watching No Way Home, and the other Peters are like, was there like a special place where Peter would go? And I'm like, I have at least 3 or 4 special places in my head where Peter would go in any other reality than this one. I know virtually nothing about this character. And there is no firm establishment of where he lives or what he would do or call home outside of the established roof of the school where he makes out with MJ in the beginning of this very movie. Because in the first movie,
Yes.
he's in the suburbs which he doesn't live in. In the second movie, he's in effing Venice or something. And then in the third movie, he's finally forgivably in New York, and they move him to Long Island in Happy's house. Like, I don't understand these movies.
You know what it should have been? It should have been the sandwich hut from the first movie.
That would have been fun. Yeah.
Is there any place he would go? You know, he really likes this place for their bread and sandwiches.
Yeah, he likes that sandwich place. That would be cute. I would have been like, that's a callback, baby. So while they're chatting it up, like Pete hears a noise, and so he Spider-Man's up and swings out there, and we get
there's always a noise whenever it's time to clean up.
Don't worry, I'll take care of the picnic stuff.
Yeah, you go on in Spider-Man.
I don't mind.
And Pete's mad because he's like, I have a lab. I love lab. Oh well. So then he swings off and he meets 2 new Bendis characters that I can't stand. And it's because they are just so inescapably shoehorned into this book. And it's just like, I read/saw Kick-Ass too. But that doesn't mean we have to like use it. In any respect, by the way.
But I could.
Right, but like, should you?
Well, if it's Ultimate, sure.
Yeah.
It's Ultimate Kick-Ass.
What's really frustrating is he establishes this mother-daughter team where they blow shit up. That's their power.
They
They blow shit up.
Like, together?
Yeah, but only when they're together. If mom and daughter are together, their powers work. When they're separate, they don't. I'm like, what a hook. But then Bendis will reestablish them in the main universe. And I'm like, no. And everyone in the world was like, no.
Hey, you can't separate her from her child. That's cruel.
Well, and also, that's the kryptonite for these characters. Like, the daughter is like foul-mouthed and like, you know, I'm like, oh yeah, again. Oh, like Hit Girl. Cool.
Oh, that's so incongruous.
What?
I've never seen that before.
I've never seen that. So they attack Spider-Man, and you know, like the mom wants to leave, the daughter wants to kill Spider-Man. Spider-Man webs the daughter and separates the 2 of them, and so the daughter gets arrested.
Oh.
Wait, when you say separate, you mean like
They have to be physically away from each other,
as far as Ethan and I are away from the couch?
and more like a block away. Like, you have to
okay.
be pretty far.
I thought based on that they had to be in contact, like touching.
No, May talks to Johnny, which is the right person to talk to Johnny.
Sure.
But also, Peter was like, I'll talk to Johnny. Oh, I really don't want to talk to Johnny. You know what? I'd rather go to work.
I'd rather work at Burger Frog. Deal with that old irate lady from the opening of the book.
At least he makes money.
I mean, that's true. You're not going to make a cent talking to Johnny. So Aunt May talks to Johnny, and basically she tries to get to the bottom of things. She's just like, you know, she's an adult and a parent.
And he's an adult.
No!
Looking.
He's a child. And she's like, you know, where's your family? What are you doing? Do they know where you are? That kind of thing. Like, we have to call your sister. We have to tell her where you are. We have to set up all these things. Like, if you can, I'm not gonna say you could just stay here and eat all the fruit roll-ups in the pantry. I'm just saying, let's establish a communication with the people you're directly related to. So Pete's at work. He eventually takes a break and he splashes soda all over Mary Jane because she's also at the mall at the same time. It's just like, yeah, right.
What an unfortunate coincidence. What an unlikely coincidence.
It's indeed. But we need to have these 2 characters talk to each other. And so, you know, MJ's mad. I think it's a coffee, actually, now that I think about it. But, MJ gets, you know, coffee all over herself. She's like, you friggin' idiot. And he's like, sorry.
Doesn't he have a spider sense?
Yeah, but it only warns him of danger.
Yeah, him spilling coffee on someone is not danger to him.
Exactly. He wasn't in any danger at all.
Jeez, she's being a total beat. She's like, why are you even working here?
Yeah. Don't you?
Like, I needed a job.
I needed a job.
This is the best you could do?
What? Yeah.
Frog boy.
Well, I don't have any, skills. Like, on paper, I don't do or know anything. But he's like, you know, she's like, and then you're with Gwen. And he's like, yeah, you dumped me. And, and you're like, what?
What?
And she's like, yeah, and then you immediately started seeing Gwen. That's pretty messed up. You know, my dad cheated on my mom, and I will never let anyone forget about it. Like, I know that you and Gwen were definitely hooking up. I thought you said, this is the worst part of the book for me. She's like, I thought you said that you and Gwen were like brother and sister or something, which is what the audience was thinking at the time.
Right.
And Pete says, I never said that I thought of her as a sister.
Oh, no.
Which is like,
Oh, so you were cheating on me with her.
no, it's just that I'm just saying it's not like I've never gotten a boner while looking at her. Like, I'm just being technically
Wrong
correct.
thing to say.
Right?
Yeah, the best kind of correct.
Yeah. It was like,
Women love that.
That's how I'm going to win this argument.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, by being right,
Yeah.
obviously, is how I win this argument.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, that's.
I never said that I didn't see her as a sister. Thank you for confirming my suspicions. No.
No.
So
That's not what I meant.
So she leaves, and he's like, he actually ends up saying something to her face that he's been saying the entire book, where he's like, enjoy being the queen of Crazy Town.
Oh. I mean, that's real.
Yeah. And by the way, if you ever want to let me know why we broke up in the first place, you know my number. So. Because they just broke
Good luck
up.
turning back into a monster.
Yeah. Good luck getting the cure that we invented for you. Because I don't know if you know Reed's phone number. But his brother-in-law's in my house. Actually, they're not married, so technically not really. Anyway. So then a bunch of spiders attack them all. Like huge spiders. Pete
What?
swings in, and they're just an illusion made by Mysterio, of course.
Oh, thank God.
So Pete attacks the spiders, goes through them. He follows the trail of big giant spiders.
Are they causing destruction?
They are not. They're just they are in
causing
terms
terror.
of they're terrorizing the citizens who are causing.
Right.
They're
just
mass
like,
panic.
Accidents and
Yeah.
dropping things.
So then
I'm gonna get you.
yeah. Meanwhile, Mysterio is robbing the First National Bank of its gold.
It's gold.
Yeah, it's gold reserves.
Oh.
And so then Spider-Man shows up and he's like, so I saw the holographic spiders and I thought Die Hard 3. Remember when there was that whole terrorist attack and it was actually a ruse to obfuscate from the fact that they were stealing gold? So I thought gold. So I came here, I'm like, wow.
That is the biggest stretch in this entire movie.
I love the reference. I appreciate your
guess,
effort, but
yeah.
no. So, but also then I'm like, what is main Mysterio doing? Why is he stealing multiversal gold? What is he gonna do with it? Is it made of the same chemical compounds? Don't you understand? If you steal $100 in the Ultimate Universe, the serial number is gonna be wrong.
Well, it's just, I want to rule a universe.
Yeah.
I can't rule mine.
So I'll
maybe I
rule
can
an
this one.
adjacent one.
Yeah.
These
people are goobers. I could easily rule this.
The problem is,
He's right.
he's not wrong. The problem is, he shouldn't be nearly as surprised by Spider-Man as he is. You again, or, geez.
Oh, that's one
I
of you
can't.
too?
He should be
Yeah.
oh, never mind. I'm going to Boston. You never leave here. That would be at least so, but no, because there's no way that they
don't
know
know, yeah.
he's Ultimate Mysterio, that he's main Mysterio.
Yeah.
So anyway, Pete starts to knock the crap out of Mysterio because Bendis doesn't know that Mysterio is an avatar body yet. And so, Pete gets covered in mist, and then Mysterio makes his hasty retreat, and it looks like Pete was robbing the bank, which would be a good setup for Spider-Man being persona non grata, but he's not. The Trop's well, obviously Mysterio tried to rob the place, and then you tried to stop him, which is the conclusion we always should have jumped to, but we never did. I mean, and now we are.
There was a guard that was there at the beginning.
Yeah.
When
Yeah,
Mysterio was taking the money.
So he's the
easily just-
eyewitness. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, but did
Corroborate.
he see Mysterio, or did he just see terrors?
Right.
That
He
distracted
saw
him?
spiders, and that's the other thing is that they're spiders, so the cops
Right.
should assume Spider-Man can conjure giant spiders.
Right, because he always does that.
Well, at least he's spider adjacent. It's not no, Mysterio did that.
The spiders involved, it must have to do with Spider-Man.
Yeah. So he
Remember
sticks
that time
around.
that everyone turned into a giant spider? Oh, wait, that wasn't here?
Yeah, that'd be great if Ultimate Mysterio was making references to other things. I've always wanted to do this, and then kills Kingpin.
Yes. If they'd only known.
Yes. If only the creator of this character had known.
Why
You do.
don't introduce a character
You
who's
don't know.
already known to the audience in another universe and not have a plan for who they are?
Yeah.
What is wrong with you?
Right. Or making their identity a mystery.
Yeah.
And then not knowing the
making
answer
it
to that
a
mystery.
mystery that you don't know the. Don't J.J. Abrams this shit.
What? But he's a
friggin'
brilliant
hack.
genius. But it's late 2000s. He's really good at what he does. J.J. Abrams is a great avatar.
But we have two mysteries, and we still haven't seen the Shroud come back.
That's true.
You're just taking advantage of the fact that people haven't done this a lot, so
Yeah.
nobody knows to be skeptical of the fact that you're never going to pay this off.
Yeah. But I mean, you are over 135 issues deep in your story.
True.
People are wise to your last page reveal trick.
Right. Yeah, I feel like I'd be starting to figure it out.
Which is why it doesn't really end like that anymore. Like, Ultimate Comic Spider-Man doesn't end with a full page reveal moment. It's more just like continuing the story.
Good.
So Pete arrives at his house after having posed with like the emergency workers that stopped Mysterio's horrible thing. And we see that Sue Storm has gone to the Parker house, had a conversation with Johnny, and then she says goodbye to Peter, and she's basically like, you take good care of him, and then leaves.
Does she
I'm sorry,
know him?
what?
Yeah, no, Sue has teamed up with Spider-Man. She knows who he is and stuff.
okay.
The
I
Fantastic
forgot
Four
about
all
that.
know that Peter is Spider-Man. The idea is that, like, Sue tries to convince Johnny because, like, she's his sister.
Right.
Like, to live with her and to, like, even if they don't want to be the Fantastic Four, like, just be with me because,
We're
like,
family.
our family's dead. Like, our mom and dad are gone. And Johnny's like, I don't want to be around, like, you guys at all right now. Like, I need time for me. And so Sue...
I want to be around a different superhero.
I want to be around different people. I want to be around my friends. I don't have any of those, so I'll settle for Spider-Man.
So I'll borrow his friends.
Exactly. And so Sue, like, goes, yeah, like, all right, I'll stay in touch with Aunt May, so I'll keep in touch with what Johnny's doing. Johnny will go to regular school with Peter, and, you know, and maybe our book will come back. Who knows?
I'd love it if the principal was like, I can't take another child.
Oh, that's a scene that comes up later. So Johnny's like, hey, I talked to my sister, and I'm totally okay to stay here and live with you. This is gonna be great. And it's like, look, I get it. Like,
She was just crying, man.
but I'm not. She's crying
And
about
wouldn't-
me not going.
And wouldn't you rather me be here happy than her be here crying?
This is kind of messed up.
I don't
I'm
want to
too
be
young to be involved
Yeah,
with this.
my uncle was murdered in my house a year ago.
And now I got your older sister telling me that you look up to me.
Yeah.
And to call her if I did, like
Right.
I'm a parent?
Yeah.
What is happening?
A parent to a person who's 2 years older than I am? You know, 8 months ago, the Green Goblin beat my best friend, his son, to death as a goblin.
Yeah. You've had
Both
a lot
of them were
You've
goblins?
grown up a lot in the last.
No, I haven't. I've been
It's not your
traumatized
choice,
a lot.
But, you know, yeah.
I've gone through a lot. That's not the same thing as growing up.
Yeah, you've gone through a whole lifetime of trauma in just 6 months.
That's true.
Yeah.
So MJ works at the mall, and so she's leaving her shift, and her manager comes up to her, and he's like, hey, do you want to, like, go out sometime? And she's like, what?
I thought she worked at the newspaper.
No,
that's
she
like
works
a-
for the
that's like
school
a club.
newspaper.
Yeah.
No,
she works for the newspaper. Like,
yeah, the way
You
that,
don't
like,
make
I
money
worked
doing
for the
that.
track team. Like, a car pulls up, and he's like, hey, cute girl, you're coming with me. This book is just loaded with problems.
what?
Jesus.
So the manager leaves, because they don't want him. He's like, okay, bye.
Well, I'm not part of this conversation.
Whoa. This, good luck with
I'm
all
going to delegate this
that.
to you.
As your manager. I think you are the perfect person to handle this problem. I guess Mary Jane is like choked with trauma herself because like every interaction she has, every altercation she's in is met with like fear and like little speech bubbles. You know, like when she's talking to Kitty and Kitty gives her a hard time, she's like, yeah, well, you don't have a great boyfriend either. She broke up with Peter because like she can't handle it. Not, you know, it's not like
Apparently.
because Peter's bad or because like he did anything wrong. It's just I can't. I don't even know how to react to things anymore. This is over. And you need and you're Spider-Man. Like you're still like going like ha ha.
I feel like I shouldn't be dealing with this at my age.
You're right, like I'm freaking out and like you want to make out. The Shroud shows up and he lands on the car, smashing it and saving MJ. And
So Red Moon Knight is here.
yeah, Red Moon Knight
Yes.
or Ultimate the Hood or whoever the identity is of the Shroud, which I do know and will be revealed at the end of this volume, attacks the would-be traffickers, whatever, and then yells their patented catchphrase of like, you're a piece of crap and you're making the world worse and you have all these opportunities and you're squandering them by taking children off the street. And I'm like, okay, you're very intimidating when you're doing the Shroud thing.
Right. When you talk, it's like,
But when you talk, it's like, oh, you're like an idiot.
what are you, like 12? You're like a kid?
Yeah.
What is this?
Yeah.
Is it
So-
Kitty Pride?
What? Why would you think it's Kitty Pryde? Because she acts just like her? So, anyway, yes, it's Kitty Pryde.
Well, they fire bullets here. And
Oh,
it
and they
doesn't have
phase
any
through her?
effect.
Yeah, okay. So, but, no, but maybe
Well,
they're
you didn't
not-
see them phase.
You
We
just-
just saw, you know,
they
Right,
didn't
maybe
affect
it did.
no
her.
effect.
So you can't
Yeah.
really tell if the trajectory would have gone through.
Yeah,
Maybe-
and they're really strong. And it's, you know, maybe it's because they're concentrating their phasing powers. Like,
Yeah,
it's,
like how does she crush the roof of the car?
because, like, because like, they're
cares?
phasing powers.
She's immune.
She's really strong. She does the thing with it's her powers, but like doing
Yeah.
it that way. Anyway, so she bumps into. I mean, they bump into Mary Jane, and MJ's like, "Who are you?" And she's like, I mean, they're like, "What are you doing? What do you mean?" And they're like, "You're doing a voice. Are you a girl? You look like my age. Like you look like you're built like me."
Yeah.
And they're like,
You're
"Fuck
very
you!"
slight.
And they leave.
I gotta go.
She's like, "Yeah."
I'm just saying, Fight Club is the best movie ever made.
We see that Pete and Mary Jane like end up talking to each other. You know, MJ's like, "Well, I had another traumatic experience."
But this time it didn't involve you.
It didn't. It had nothing to do with you, which says to me that
I'm just attracted to danger.
right, like shit happens more or less, and it's not your fault. And I shouldn't have broken up with you because you're not the reason why I'm having. She completely melts down.
Oh my god. In the hall.
Listen.
She had a gun pointed at her and was almost kidnapped.
Yeah, and she definitely didn't talk to anybody about it.
No.
Until now.
Yeah, but
that
you
said,
don't have time for this.
you
gotta
laugh.
get to homeroom.
I will tell you this. I don't know about you, then I don't recall, honestly. But I know I have had this scene 3 or 4 times during high school.
Yes.
That is real.
And it's either a free period or on lunch, or it's 3 minutes between classes.
Or it's the 3 minutes between classes, and it's like, look, yeah, no. These are important moments for you to realize your priorities, you see. I definitely recall being in situations where, like, well, clearly she does not care about math because I'm late to it right now, and I'm still here. So I need to make a choice. Am I going to leave her like this and go to math, or am I going to stay here until she realizes she has to get to math, or until the situation is resolved, and then explain to the teacher in some fashion why I'm late.
Yeah.
And I chose the
They're
latter.
not gonna care about
Oh yeah,
whatever reason
right.
you
But like
have.
you take your lumps. Like it's like
Yeah.
you choose the emotional needs of someone else over your own personal reward.
Yeah.
That's something that like I certainly learned many, many times over the many D's I received in high school.
I
was doing the work. It was just my attendance problem.
right? Like
No.
okay.
I was very good at talking my way out of detention.
Oh.
She's like, so yeah, I had a hard time, and you know what? I was mean to you at the mall, and that wasn't fair. But also, I should have broken up because now you're with Gwen, and she's so great, and you're never gonna be with me again, and I love you.
And Gwen's like there. And
Gwen's like, hey. And what's weird? This is where, and then we go into science
Do
fiction.
I walk in? Do I back out?
Yeah.
And it's just, I can't ignore this.
I would love it if Gwen was like, just left the frame. MJ and Gwen and Peter were friends, when MJ and Peter were an item.
Uh-huh.
And off as well. But
Right.
like Gwen and Pete and MJ were like bosom buddies. They were like the Trinity. And now, MJ dumps Pete. Pete lives and hooks up with Gwen. MJ like kept Pete at arm's length and pushed everyone away from her.
Right.
And it's realistic in as much as
Well, she hides behind the camera.
she creates a
She
divide.
creates
a barrier
between herself
and
the world.
reality. Yeah. But the other thing is like I get the idea that like she's been through so much trauma that she like doesn't know how best to deal with a situation like friendships and relationships and stuff like that. Like she's depressed. But from their perspective, they're like, you dumped Peter and then stopped talking to us. Like you just bailed on us.
Right.
We don't hate you. That's why we're not talking.
Yeah,
Right.
you cut us out.
Exactly. And it's like, that's fair. Like, that's fair, but also them kind of victim blaming her where they're like, well, you didn't call me. So I don't know why we're even having this conversation. Like, it's like, well, but the other thing is they all had shared experience. Like, everyone's family died in the wave. Like,
Right.
we all had a hard time. None of us turned into beast people, but like, I turned into a carnage. I died. Actually, you know what? F you, I died. I'm not even me. My corpse is in the backyard.
This is some Rick and Morty shit. Okay, so I
Right?
don't care that you
I
broke up with someone that you're still in love with.
Right?
Oh no.
My boyfriend, by the way, so step off. But no, so instead, they're just like, hey, like, it's cool. It's cool that you're in love with Peter, regret dumping him, and want me and he to stop seeing each other, but we're just gonna be friends anyway. And then like Flash Thompson pops in and he's like, whoa, the nerds are fighting over Peter, what a douche. And then they all yell at him and I'm like, what a cartoon moment this was. What a dumb, this doesn't
just like
fit.
a manga.
Yeah, right. And it's like, I get it. Like at issue 4 or whatever into this series, I can see Bendis being like, I gotta play to this guy's strengths or something because like, it's just doing what I normally do is not working.
I guess this is what they want.
This is what they want? Like this big dumb cartoon moment? So anyway,
Okay.
and Jessica Jones forgivably breaks into this conversation to stop all this crap. She's like, MJ, the Hulk is attacking the like whatever bridge we didn't lose in the wave. We gotta stop it.
The only bridge that's left.
The only bridge out of town. And so, you know, she's gonna go film it, and you know, for the school paper. And can you imagine? We work for the school paper. Like, can you imagine like me being like, yeah, Mr. Featherman, I need to go like 45 minutes up to like Manhattan so that I can film a terrorist attack, you know, for the paper.
I mean, to be fair, they do live in.
They live in New York, so
Okay, but if there was a fire
but they're in Queens. It's
in
still
town, and I tried to tell a teacher,
Yeah, you
hey,
couldn't
I
have-
have to leave because I have to go film this fire.
This is local news. This is my jurisdiction.
the kids in the volunteer fire department in our class weren't allowed to leave. There's a fire next door. I'm in the volunteer fire department.
Yeah, I guess it's gonna burn down because you got a test.
Well, you don't have a fire engine, kid. You barely have a driver's license. What are you gonna do?
Yeah, you help after school with that.
Yes,
After school.
it's 9:30. So
Well, I hope that fire will burn for another 8 hours. 'Cause,
yeah, I'm sure
you're
they'll
going
handle
nowhere.
it. I'm sure that the actual firefighters can handle it. So Pete Spider-Man's up. He swings out there. It's a mirage. It's fucking Mysterio. Great opportunity, by the way, for Ultimate Mysterio to make a mistake and
Use the
use
wrong Hulk.
real Hulk. But we don't know that that's who that is.
So we can't do that.
Yeah, and no, I'm doing it on purpose to throw you off. It's not that I, the writer, have no idea who this character is.
Okay.
So Pete's like, it's a mirage. Like, it's fine. So he jumps through it, and then like there are all these carefully placed bombs
Oh no.
where Pete's gonna jump, and then they like go off and knock him out. And Mysterio's like, gotcha.
Yikes.
It's a great moment.
Yeah, I learned.
Yeah, right. I know what you know, you piece of shit. So he's gonna kill him, but first he's gonna film him. He's gonna take his mask off and film him and shit.
Oh yeah.
And then you know, the Shroud shows up and saves him. Meanwhile,
the Shroud.
at Kitty's house, her mom comes home, and Iceman is living in their house like a squatter.
Oh.
But apparently, he was told he could live there by Kitty at an earlier point, not shown in this volume. But he is acting like he's been secretly hiding in there. Like, it's just like, dude, like, what? Anyway, scares the shit out of Kitty's mom. And Kitty's mom is like, I'm done with the mutant shit. I'm not the Xavier Institute. I regret the X-Men situation. Like, I'm fighting every day with the principal to keep Kitty in school on a completely legal bound.
You are not my problem.
You are not my problem. You are someone else's kid.
Why don't you go to the
Get out.
Parkers?
Yeah, so he does.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, of course. We're gonna move him into the Parkers because one thing that's more ironic, because there's nothing more iconic in a Spider-Man book than having an ice-powered character and a fire-powered character like Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends, because we can never escape this cartoon. At least it's not Firestar, but we already introduced Firestar, and I don't understand why we didn't just make it Firestar. But like, we got to get Johnny in here, probably because the book is over. So it's like, why not use Fantastic
That
Four?
ties in the Fantastic Four book. Firestar doesn't have a book right now.
No, she doesn't. She's a Spider-Man character in the Ultimate Universe. Also, we
Exactly.
never see her again, so who cares? So, anyway, Mysterio is going to take off Spider-Man's mask because he doesn't know who he is and doesn't care and then seemingly has no relationship with Spider-Man whatsoever. But then the Shroud shows up and
Oh no.
saves Spider-Man. And Spider-Man's like, hey, MJ said that you were maybe a girl and also are like hiding who you are. Yeah, Pete like beats the crap out of Mysterio, takes off his like mask, reveals who he is. It's not Quentin Beck, but it's
Just a guy.
well, it's also like a robot. Like, it's not him. It shouldn't
Right.
be, but he doesn't know that either, so it doesn't matter.
No, this is an android.
You know,
And it's got skin on the outside.
well, it could be. I mean, but also it's drawn by David LaFuente, so like it's a white guy.
Yeah, it's just a white guy.
He looks like Kingpin or Peter or Johnny Storm. Like, it looks like anybody. So Pete tries to talk to the Shroud and figure out who they are. Doesn't get anywhere. And then like a cute goth chick goes up to Peter and goes like, hey, give me your autograph, and here's my number and stuff. And he's like,
Okay.
okay.
Sweet.
Fair. After the fight, Pete finds like a device that Mysterio uses. And so he brings it to his friend, who's a police officer within the department, and asks him to like analyze it or whatever. And the cop is like, what you did was take evidence from a crime scene. Like, you've ruined the ability to
use this at all.
Well, it's like he's like, it's like advanced technology. Maybe you could like reverse engineer it or like see who built it or something. Like it's not valuable if you could like dust it for prints or whatever.
Right.
Even though it clearly would have been. It wouldn't have been because it's one of the universe.
Is his friend a super scientist?
No, it's just a cop.
He's just a cop.
But maybe Oh, right.
Yeah,
I
can't
actually
you do some CSI shit on it? You
Right.
know?
And actually,
Like
Peter-
detect what kind of metals it has.
Peter knows more super scientists than this police officer. Like, what are you doing? What ultimately happens is like the cop takes it and he's like, yeah, okay.
All right.
All right. I mean, like.
I have to take it. I can't hand you back evidence.
Yeah.
That's true. I will take it.
Yeah, I'll give it to the lab. They're
Yeah.
gonna not
It's so frustrating.
know what
It's
to do
like-
with it,
it's
but
like,
okay.
Would it be great if it was from like the main universe? But like Mysterio just uses. He's not like a scientist. He just uses like film equipment.
Yeah, whatever's there.
Yeah, he uses whatever he can get his hands on. But it'd be great if he did use like 616 Stark Tech or whatever. But he doesn't. So whatever.
This is just epoxy.
Right. Yeah, it's fake. It doesn't do anything. So Pete comes home and he's intercepted by Gwen, and she's like, "You are not going to believe how weird this book is about to get." And he's like, "What do you mean?" And so he goes in there, and like Kitty's there, and Johnny's there, and he's like,
Is this some kind of messed up intervention?
"Right." Like, what is happening? Emma takes Peter aside, and she's like,
Get these kids out of my house.
"No, it's
have to
it's
stop
reversed. It's worse." Aunt May is like, "So Bobby's going to live with us," and Pete's like, "I don't know what they told you, but I don't know him." Like, this is already disruptive enough. Like,
I barely know Johnny.
I don't like Johnny. And he's living in my room. I don't know Bobby. And I really don't need more shit. Like, right now.
Just because we're all children
Doesn't
mean we're all friends
You know-
or even know each other.
May, I'm going to remember this when I drop you off at the old age home.
You'll get along with
they're
them.
old like you.
You're going to get along with them great because they're all the same age, you see. Now, get out of here.
That is a perfect analogy. That's yeah.
This is horrible.
Yep.
Why don't we call Mary Jane and have her move in too? While we're adding to
accepting-
this shit sandwich. And by the way, they're like, Peter, like he's in the other room. Like, stop being a dipshit.
Yeah.
Like, this poor kid needs our help. And he's like, I need help. I am having a hard time.
This is my aunt.
Yeah, I don't want everyone being sad when she's killed, okay? Anyway, so he loses the argument.
Yeah.
And so Bobby's moving in.
But for some reason, Gwen is like really into
She
this.
thinks this is hilarious.
I guess because like that's what she did.
It's cool.
She's like more
me.
More me,
Yeah.
yes.
Well, just, more people, It makes
Yeah.
it. Gwen doesn't have a family. Oh, look at all the family.
Well,
I'm like,
Gwen's also dead?
like she's alive. This
What
new-
is she?
She's a clone.
She's a clone. But she
Okay.
doesn't know. She
remembers-
perceives herself to be the same person
Yeah.
that she was before.
Same memories.
Yeah.
Does she no longer has the Carnage powers?
Nope.
Nope.
They split them.
Yep. So she's just a normal girl who
Yes.
happens to have a period of her life where she had been a Carnage.
Yes.
And also was in a different body.
Yeah, she has some missing time between when she died and when they cloned her.
Yeah.
And also, she was a Carnage during that time. When
Yeah,
she
and
was.
everyone remembers her dying.
Yeah, but that's like, I missed 2 months.
Real messed
Yeah,
up.
there is a grave.
Yeah, and her body is literally over there. I actually appreciate that they don't seem to be being like, oh, but what does it mean to be a clone?
No.
But you're not the real Gwen.
Nope,
because
no one has
for
that
all intents and purposes, she is the real Gwen.
No, in 616,
No,
it is
this-
like that.
I
They're
know,
like,
and I
he's like,
hate
you're a
it.
puppet person.
Yeah. It makes me crazy.
Well, that's because in 616 they also melt at some
It's
point.
also because, he had that interaction with at least 6 other Gwens,
Yeah.
and he's like, no!
Well, that is messed up. That's true. As far as they know, that won't happen. So I could
And it won't.
make sense.
Thank
of things.
God.
We close the
I
facility.
can't wait until we get to the end of this book. Gwen just like, I don't feel good.
That would be a real problem. I do not like that.
Especially when Peter finally tells MJ off.
Yeah.
Like, no, we broke up. Life's better like now.
Peter.
What's
Oh,
happening?
no, Gwen. Oh, okay, Mary Jane, we can get back together.
Hey.
Well, that makes some things a lot easier.
Yeah, honestly. She
know?
didn't die hating you. And,
Glass half full. No more awkward love triangle.
Hey, how about that? Mysterio, who is definitely not the person from the other universe, is like freaking out. He's like, this stupid Spider-Man person, and he ruins everything. And then he finds like some DNA, like some blood on his like suit.
Oh, yeah.
And he's like, oh, that's not my blood. That's someone else. I'm going to use that. So he trains a Spider Slayer to attack the owner of that DNA sequence. So a Spider Slayer attacks the school.
Oh.
We'll get into that later. So now we have a full double page splash that
This
establishes.
school has had enough.
I was like, this is enough. It's really. We'll get into it. Double page splash. Here's the new status quo for Ultimate Comics Spider-Man.
This is amazing.
I know.
This is
Like,
like
we got
opening to a sitcom.
Yeah. Because like Kitty's also gonna be like, I'm friends with Bobby, and my parents are like, they hate me. Like at least
so
my
I'm
mom
gonna be
does.
hanging out here a lot.
So I'm gonna be hanging out here a lot more. So it's Kitty and Bobby and Johnny and Gwen, and they're all hanging out. There's actually an awkward and horribly accurate moment where like they're all hanging out, and Gwen goes, I just have an announcement to make. Peter is my boyfriend. And so no one can make any advances on me because it's just me and Peter. And Aunt May's like, sit down and don't say anything ever again. It was horrible what you just did. So they're like, what are we gonna do now? Like the kid's like, well, you know, they're like Marty when they goes back in time. Like, well, you know, like I can hang out and you can pal around. And she's like, you're going to school. And they're like, what? Yeah, and she's like, yeah, Peter's like, yeah, these are my cousins who have been long lost and are here now. So they dyed Johnny's hair.
Just
Like,
show up at school.
oh, yes, they can. Aunt May goes to the principal's office, and she's like, yeah, I'd like to enroll my my two like nephews or whatever.
Two human nephews.
Yep. Or
both
not
of
mutants
whom are
or
humans
superheroes.
and not mutants or anything else.
And
Really? Because that looks like the Human Torch with a dye job.
It isn't.
Well,
it is not. Now, don't forget, because you definitely did, that the last time we actually saw the principal before this volume was when the principal was like, your nephew is Spider-Man, and I called the police.
Oh yeah.
Police! And the principal's like, so, I don't know if you remember, but like, I think you and I kind of got off on the wrong foot before about like how like I accused you of harboring a fugitive from justice, and I called maybe the police on you and stuff. And then, you know, cut to a couple months later, Spider-Man is like the #1 guy and
Save the city.
save the city, and like if I said something bad about Spider-Man, like I'd be canceled, and so I'm thinking maybe like I just give you a pass. And she's like, sounds good to me. Because like, you know,
Sounds like we're even.
exactly. And the principal, who looks nothing like John Suntress from Word Balloon and is not named after him in any way, says, you know, they lead the whole thing where he's like, so cousins. She's like, yep. And you have any records of them? They were destroyed in the flood. Convenient.
Ah, yes, of course.
Of course, yes, excellent. You understand also that like we've added like 2 other districts to this school, so like we're already choked to people. Like we got like, you know, 90-person classroom sizes and shit, and you want to add 2 more bodies to this? That's correct, yes. I see. And you're doing this because you have emotional and maybe even legal leverage over me. Yeah, that's correct. I'm going to be pulling that now. Yeah, fair enough. Okay. So they're going. And Mary Jane, by the way, has not been made privy to this. So she says, this is not going to work.
Right. There's no chance of this happening. This is impossible.
Like they're walking down the school, they're like, hey, she's like, put the brakes on this right now. And they're like, hey, you dumped me. Boot. So then Pete gets his spider sense and he's like, uh-oh. And then the Spider Slayer attacks. Like, the principal's like, you know what? Actually, like, having Spider-Man, like, knowing Spider-Man goes to our school, knowing that he's a good kid, he's got good upbringing and stuff, like, it actually is a source of pride. And I'm like, just please don't make my life any harder.
Yeah. Promise me these are normal children.
I cannot make that promise. But I also can promise that, like, the building won't explode. And then it does.
God damn.
And I'm like, oh my God. And it's like, it's a spider slayer that's in tune with Peter's DNA, so it's like, it is 100% connected with
Oh, so it is
Right.
Peter's DNA.
It is
okay.
his
at least
fault.
I was
wasn't
hoping it
directly
was
related
I was
to-
hoping it was Kitty Pryde's.
Oh my
Right.
God. Yeah, that'd be great. I wish. Nope. That'd be something. So Johnny and Bobby are like, oh, let's suit up. And Pete's like, no.
You just got
You can't. You can't. I'm sorry. Just let me handle this. So he Spider-Man's up and he fights the thing. And it's like, that makes sense.
Yeah. That is weird looking.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
it's a bizarre traffic light of a spider
yeah, it's got the
slayer.
eyes like Mysterio.
Yeah.
You see, Mysterio. So
It's cool. So there's
Yeah.
a fight.
So Pete like has to save the principal.
Okay. So now the
And-
principal really likes him.
I guess.
I guess. Or he's just like, you brought this on our school.
He's just like, ah! So then the Shroud shows up.
Sweet.
And the Shroud ends up actually beating the Slayer while Peter is saving the principal.
Okay.
And then Johnny and Bobby show up like they run
That's
around
because the
back.
Shroud,
Right.
sort of phases through
What?
it, straps in.
Well, I would be very hesitant to assume that they phased through anything, but they definitely did.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they destroy the robot and everything, and
Why does Johnny have his powers on?
Oh, he pretended
he
like
pretended like he didn't go to the school. Like, I'm here now. I saw some ruckus, and
he waited like 20 seconds, so that it was plausible that he could have seen it in the distance or something.
yeah, it
and
wasn't that
gotten
like
there.
Spider-Man sprung into action next to Human Torch. And Iceman's like, man,
Bobby's like, I am sitting this one out.
that's horrible. He doesn't want to, but like,
So he's a mutant, so it's worse for his powers. to
yes,
get
they
discovered.
know he's a mutant,
Yeah.
as opposed to Johnny, who's Fantastic Four, beloved member of the super team. So Shroud escaped. Johnny like burns the remains of the machine, and then the two of them, like Spider-Man and Johnny, like leave. They're like, well, goodbye, citizens. Yeah. and then Kitty like goes to an alley and like takes off her Shroud costume and like starts crying.
What's this blood coming out of her nose?
Yeah, well, it was a tough fight. So I was like, oh my God, this is my life now.
Yeah, I'm sitting in trash like Spawn. It's horrible.
So this ends with Mysterio just being like, well, I'm still around in a problem.
Yes.
Yes.
He's like, oh, I have a new perspective. Like, I hate superheroes, and I'm totally not from the original universe. Like, he just says more things that reinforce that he's definitely not the Mysterio that he will be. And,
His own unique character.
And I'm like,
is
look,
not related to another character that you already know.
why didn't you just make it like he's an original character, and then have real Mysterio kill that guy and just take his shit?
Yeah, if you wanted to do
If you
that.
wanted to do that so bad.
Yeah, all right.
So the cop ends up actually like he actually ends up doing the thing Peter asked him to do. So he finds out like the warehouse where they built the tech that they stole, and Mysterio blows up the warehouse.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, it's actually funny. Like the cop is like outside. He's like, I can't believe we did this. Like we actually caught the guy.
Yeah.
And Mysterio's like, damn it, so close. Blows up the building, and then the cop's car blows up, and he's like, damn it, so close. It's like, nah. That's the beginning of the new era for Spider-Man. Is that Spider-Man lives in a halfway house for half-pint superheroes.
And the big bad is Mysterio?
In this volume, the next one it's Chameleon.
Oh, okay.
What?
But they didn't defeat Mysterio.
Yeah, he's still around.
I know, isn't that a problem?
But when
Yes.
he comes back,
Yeah, but like that means
he'll
he's
be a different guy.
he killed Kingpin so that you could establish that like he's kind of the new Kingpin. Like Kingpin didn't always just go away.
Right.
If it's anywhere, I'll put it in the comments, but I doubt it is. Like the problem is the book is kind of out of print. Ultimate Comics Spider-Man.
Yeah,
Rolls
UCSM?
on.
Yeah, UCSN. It's Ultimate Spider-Man.
Yeah.
See you next week. I'm Sal.
I'm Ethan.
I'm Ben.
Keep reading.
This,
Ah, my God.
what is this?
What am I supposed to be?
What am I looking at?
My problem's the bombs, like the bombshells.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
It's
Is
just
that what they're called?
I
That's
believe
their,
so.
Yeah, that's their name, yes. The
it's just
bombshells.
it's just so flagrantly kick-ass.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay,
You're just taking someone else's idea wholesale.
And it's like you're not even doing anything
Except that
funny
it's a
with
mom
it.
instead of a dad. Like,
Right.
That's the only difference.
You're not doing anything with it. You're not like criticizing how stupid that is,
Nope.
or elevating it to a superhero universe. It's just a thing that's happening that is a lot like that other thing that more people know about.